Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about Pat Philbin. Philbin was the second witness after Richard Donahue in the Jeff Clark Barr disciplinary proceeding, but he's a really important guy in the whole drama, and he deserves. I wanted to highlight his testimony for itself. First, I've known him for years. He is the ultimate kind of button down. You might have seen him in the impeachment where I don't think we got a really good, he was a lawyer for Trump for one of them. But he is the Washington lawyer par excellence. And I mean that in all ways. Yes, it's a sort of straight-laced role and countenance for one, but extremely respected, extremely ethical, extremely well regarded and figure of credibility. Very conservative, back from his days as a clerk on the Supreme Court, but a special sort of figure. And remember, he's the deputy to Pat Cipollone, the White House counsel, but he is what really passes as Philbin as a very high up kind of career official, not at all a sort of Trump toady. So based on the kind of person he is, his career in Washington, and the role he played, which was not as, right up in Trump's political circle, he's going to be significant at trial. And we got the first ever view of him and what he's going to say, because he, if something leaks and it's not supposed to, he's the last guy you suspect. He is really on the straight and narrow. Okay, so he testifies in ways that I think are extremely damning to Jeff Clark. So remember, Jeff Clark is an acting head of the environmental division. He's not, that's not nothing at DOJ, but it's by no means that a leadership role. He's got no business at all trying to throw his weight around, but he's been invested with the temporary authority of Donald Trump. So he's going around saying, we've got to do this or that, and I'll let you stick around after I'm Assistant Attorney General and the like. And experienced hands like Philbin in the department immediately see the folly and treachery. And Philbin is basically dispatched because he's known Clark for a while, and they have a phone call that is actually described a little bit loosely in the indictment, where Clark is co-conspirator number 5 in the election interference case before Judge Chutkan, and basically. So we now have Philbin's account in an open proceeding, that is Clark's disciplinary hearing. And Philbin first, says to him basically, what the F are you doing? Probably Philbin didn't say the F, but even Philbin might, by these events, have been driven to it. And he said to Clark, this can't possibly succeed. Oh, and by the way, if it does, there'll be riots in every city in the country. This is, complete catastrophe, and you have no legal basis. And Clark says to Philbin, I hadn't heard this word before, that's what the Insurrection Act is for. So he envisions doing this thing to try to improperly, inaccurately, unconstitutionally, just ram the election for Trump. Riots ensue, and you call out the army. That's that's what the Insurrection Act is for. So it's the very picture, basically, of a autocratic coup, right? That's what we see in countries around the world. A strong man takes power, calls out the army in his defense. That is truly the end of democracy, and that's what Clark was promoting. And there's a phone call where Philbin just tries very hard to tell him what's going to happen, but it's only semi-successful because the meeting the pivotal showdown meeting with Trump still goes forward. And Philbin says it's partly Philbin's idea at that meeting to say there's going to be a mass resignation of all your top brass at DOJ if you do this. His colleagues at DOJ sign on. And, he's not a firebrand, Philbin. So, he's understanding, man, push has really come to shove, and this is where we have to go. And very interestingly, I don't know if this shows up at trial, but you may remember the episode that first brought Jim Comey to the national scene, where he testifies about an effort to basically roll John Ashcroft by the then Attorney General for George W. Bush, Alberto Gonzales, and Philbin is on Comey's side, is showing that he thinks there's no authority for inadequate authority for some of these this action that we now think of as torture, and he rushes to the bedside along with Comey to sort of be the DOJ institutional force, and it's adverted then too. Ashcroft, says, "There's your Attorney General right there," pointing to Comey, et cetera. So it's a similar kind of breathtaking, on the actual edge of the cliff of a, just a complete dereliction of the rule of law. But Trump's much more serious because it didn't suggest just an episode, but literally the fall of the government, as it were. So Philbin's testimony to that extent is really dramatic. He plays it. Oh, he does say, as to Clark, he's slightly nice to him. And as I say, Philbin's a truth teller. He's not gonna, and I think he'll come across that way to the jury. But he does say he thinks that Clark really believes we're in some big national crisis, and kind of anything is justified. He's clear that he thinks what Clark has in mind is lunacy and sort of democracy-ending lunacy, and that when they go there, he's going to pull out all stops, as they do, to keep Trump from mounting this coup with Clark, as it did. So we have a sort of first time and kind of vivid portrayal in real time of the, Philbin represents, yes, Republican, yes, conservative, but the institutionalist, constitutionally faithful cadre of respected Republican lawyers in Washington, taking on a power intoxicated, I would say, Jeff Clark all of a sudden can be Attorney General, kind of madman in constitutional terms. And so this is a damn good preview of what he's going to say when he testifies, whenever the trial occurs on January 6th. And I think it's really vivid and killer testimony. And we now have, a fuller picture that we didn't have before, including January 6th committee, when Philbin and Cipollone both were stopped short of giving the full account for, multiple reasons. So in that sense, when he testifies, it's, I think, going to be a riveting day, and we have a very good sort of dress rehearsal of what it's going to look like, and just a portrayal of how, if Philbin and a handful of conservative, Trump serving Republican appointees of the Department of Justice don't stand up for the Constitution, and Clark is permitted to take this action, and Georgia is told it's out of compliance in some way, and the Trump's guys in Congress kind of start to agitate. Who the hell knows, right? So it's a vivid portrayal of what might have been and how it was pushed back on. So, well worth knowing, seeing, and anticipating for the January 6th trial. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.